St. Paul was born in Tarsus, a flourishing crossroads city in Cilicia, Asia Minor. He received his religious training in Jerusalem under the renowned rabbinical tutor Gamaliel, from whom he absorbed the teaching of the Pharisees with intensity and sincerity. He deplored the acceptance of the Messiah as heresy to his religion and as an affront. Armed with articles of condemnation from his council, he set out for Damascus with an avowed purpose of wiping out this new belief in Jesus Christ. On the road to Damascus, he met Jesus. This is perhaps the most dramatic turnaround in history, one that was destined to alter the course of the world. St. Paul embraced as the Messiah the man whom he had set out to destroy. Thereafter, he devoted himself with deep conviction to the truth of Christianity. The conversion alone of this profoundly religious man is in itself testimony to the reality of the Messiah's divinity. Although not one of the original 12 disciples of Christ, Paul linked himself with the apostles and became the greatest apostolic missionary of all time. A brilliant orator and writer, he was sensitive to the needs and moods of the various tribes of both Greek and Near Eastern backgrounds. Furthermore, he was intelligent enough to cope with the problems that beset the new faith at every turn. St. Paul, a man of small physical stature, cast a giant shadow upon the missionary scene as he travelled the length and breadth of the ancient Eastern world. He had success following success in the vast areas of Asia, Greece, Cyprus, Macedonia, and eventually Rome, where his most noble purpose was to prove his undoing. He had a fondness for Jerusalem, for whose poor he continually solicited funds. Moreover, he envisioned a union of the Jewish and Christian communities, a project which was to prove dangerous. He met James in Jerusalem, and together they sought a means to bring this laudable plan into being. However, he encountered not love, but outright hostility. In fact, he had to be saved from an angry mob by the Roman authorities, who placed him aboard a ship bound for Rome, where he arrived after a tossed voyage. St. Paul had always wanted to use the Eternal City with its strategic position in the empire, from which the spread of Christianity could be projected. Although he preached in Rome for 2 years, his ambitions were never completely realised, except for the production of his masterful pastoral letters. Despite his frail health, he continued his work for Christ at an accelerated pace, but his enthusiastic love for the Saviour also brought him the resentment of certain influential elements in Rome. When his enemies had done their worst, he was brought to trial and met a martyr's death about AD 67. The true greatness of Paul is discerned in his writings, particularly his epistles. As author of almost half of the 27 books of the New Testament, he has influenced Christianity as no other man, with the exception of Christ himself. Even after nearly 2,000 years, St. Paul's candour, freshness, clarity, and perceptiveness in his writings are as welcome as sunrise. Orthodox Christianity remembers St. Paul each year and as one of the apostles on June 30.